the elusive cheetah, sleek, muscular, and lightning fast. Speed was not the only attraction to the cheetah for Academy Award-winning actress Holly Hunter. It was their raw energy.
Picking up speed through Africa.
Holly journeyed to Africa to meet the elegant cheetah on its own turf.
My first wild cheetah.
Fascinating.
But when she discovers that their very survival is threatened, she sets out on a quest to find an African home for the cheetah.
Good night, cheetah.
In the wild. Funding for In the Wild is provided by annual financial support from viewers like you.
Zero to 60 in 3 seconds. The cheetah. A top speed of 70 miles an hour, almost twice as fast as a horse. But race a cheetah and a horse over a mile, and the horse would always win. The cheetah would burn out and have to stop halfway. I'm embarking on a journey to meet a creature that has always intrigued me, not just for its grace, but for the way it gives everything it has, almost to the point of lethal exhaustion, just to survive. When I chose to come to Africa to study the cheetah, I'd never really seen film of the cheetah. I'd just seen pictures. And that was what provoked me to want to see more. Because in the pictures, you just get this feeling of contained energy. It's just, the energy is in the body, still. You don't even need to see it moving. And it was that containment and that sense of everything about the animal is alive. That's what I wanted to see. And that's why I'm here. The classic home of the cheetah is the Serengeti Plains of East Africa. But I've been told that the largest population of wild cheetah actually live in southern Africa, Namibia, and they're in danger of dying out. So I'm heading straight for the largest park in Namibia, Etosha, in the north. I'd never been here before. My only impressions of this great continent were formed as a kid from National Geographic magazines. Someone else might have expected out of Africa. What I found was out of this world. It's like the earth has been stripped clean, leaving only a dried skeleton of another time. Yet through the heat haze, there's still an illusion of the water that once filled this entire area. Now all that remains are tiny water holes, puncturing the desert landscape with something strangely unexpected: life. Wildlife gathers from miles around to drink from these shrinking pools. Cheetah prey everywhere, but no cheetahs. I felt a part of it, yet a little detached, like being in a soundproof oven, 120 degrees, and the silence was deafening. The only reminder that I was still on this planet was the familiar growl of my Jeep.
Picking up speed through Africa. think this car will go as fast as the cheetah. That's my suspicion. Cheetah would be outrunning us right now. Now, you just can't believe that he lives out here. You just can't believe it.
A ground squirrel, 4 miles from the closest water. Hey, if he can survive in these conditions, there's hope for me yet. I'd arranged a meeting with Atasha biologist Philip Stander to look for cheetah tracks. Right, yeah, in the middle of nowhere. Okay, Philip, there's this green tree. You can't miss it. I'll be the girl in the corner with a rolled-up copy of Tracker's Gazette. Philip was bringing along a team of native sand bushmen to help us track down the cheetah. It seems these people can tell you everything just from a paw print. Not only where the animal's going, but where it's been, who it's been with, whether it's eaten. They can practically tell you if it's depressed. When it came to footprints, these guys could find anything at all. Well, except me. They were an hour late. As it turned out, they had a pretty good excuse. Finding the cheetah tracks I was looking for had been a lot harder than they imagined. Philip has worked with the Bushmen for 3 years. They interpret the tracks. He interprets their language of clicking sounds. How many days have you guys been searching for cheetah tracks?
4 days now.
And these are the only ones that you found?
Only relatively fresh ones, yes.
Now, how can you tell the difference between the front feet and the back feet? Are the back feet larger?
No, back feet's a lot smaller. D. Go. This is the right back foot. The D, that's the left back foot, and that is the front foot, slightly larger.
Oh, I see.
D.
Is this cheetah hungry?
That's it. It is.
The faint tracks told us that the cheetah had been heading for the plain to look for food. But something happened to change that plan. Farther ahead, it stopped, and then suddenly took off. Whatever scared it must have been coming from the other direction. A clue lay further on. What's going on here? This looks like a ruckus. It's like a drama. Seems like we're on the trail of the lion.
You see that disturbance on the ground?
Yes.
The lion was lying down.
Is that after they've eaten? They're full.
Lying.
How can you tell they've eaten, they're full, they're lying down?
Maybe the way they're lying down, I don't know.
We see like belly marks. One of the resting lions must have spotted the cheetah coming their way.
The first impression was the lion that charged down here and braked. So you can see all the marks.
Yes.
On his front foot.
So these guys are putting this together now.
Yes.
The Bushmen reenact exactly what happened, bringing the story in the sand to life.
The lion stopped here, cheetah had run off, and he turned around.
Do you think a lion would attack a cheetah?
Yes, I've seen them kill cheetahs. They attack them. They don't eat them, but
they kill them.
They do, yes.
It's always antagonistic.
Yes.
They never just pass each other peaceably.
No.
It's always a confrontation.
No, there's always antagonistic. It's a tough life, being a cheetah in a park like this. Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be a lot of room. But it's not just lions forcing the cheetah out. Anthrax is a disease that's been around here long before we ever heard of it. And it kills. Even elephants. Philip has estimated that 30 cheetahs have died from it in the last year alone. Maybe in an attempt to avoid the disease, most cheetahs have moved on south to the farmland. Well, that's what I've been told. That's what I'm hoping. So, that's where I'm heading. Namibia relies heavily on farming for most of its income, but with a dry soil, not many crops will grow. Livestock has become the main source of cash. But farmers claim their profit is being eaten away by the cheetahs, quite literally. In revenge, they're trapping and killing cheetahs. It's no surprise that cheetahs here regard man as their worst enemy. No, I haven't gone crazy. His name is Chewbacca. He's tame. He was found as an orphan cub after his mother had been shot by a farmer. He's been raised by Laurie Marker Krause, an American conservationist who moved here 6 years ago to study Namibia's wild cheetahs. And then she stayed to try and save them.
I love how lean he is.
Chewbacca can never go back to the wild. He hasn't learned to hunt. But with Laurie, at least he's safe, and she can study him at close range.
I don't know what does the little noise mean?
The little talk, he is talking to you.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not, it's saying, you know, do this and don't do that.
Oh, so it means don't do this.
Well, it's a talk. He wants to be really out playing right now.
Right.
And he's saying, I'll sit here with you because you pet me really nicely.
But Laurie doesn't spend all day reading cheetahs' minds. As part of her research project, she put radio collars on wild cheetahs to find out what they're up to on the farmland. Every week she takes off to track them. I joined her on an expedition. Here was my first chance to catch a glimpse of a wild cheetah. Our intrepid French pilot, Jacques, flies the plane. Laurie monitors the radio signals from the collared cheetahs, and I sit in the back. Now I know why they call these light aircraft. It's really disorienting. I felt like a cork, bobbing in the middle of a stormy, stormy ocean. My brain was gently persuading my stomach to get out of my throat and back to where it belonged.
It's not too bumpy.
Sorry? What did you say?
Just to ask you if it's not too bumpy.
Oh, no. This is a smooth sailing.
I lied. It wasn't long before we'd picked up the radio signals of 3 male cheetahs. They were somewhere below us. If anyone could find them in this bush country, it wasn't going to be me.
Everywhere. Should be somewhere there. Right, then we'll turn back again.
I was still trying to work out which way was up when Jacques spotted them. And these guys were on a kill.
You will see them just exactly underneath.
Right underneath us?
Look, just under us. That's it.
Oh, my goodness.
You see them?
Yes.
It was such a fleeting glimpse, just a flash, and then it was gone. We turned back for a second pass.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't tell what the cheetahs were feasting on, but it didn't look like livestock. We thought we'd get a better view from the ground, but the problem was, could we land the plane and get to the kill before the cheetahs were chased off by vultures? Jacques dropped us down on a farm track and then went back up to guide us to the spot.
See how many vultures are coming off of it. No wonder the cheetahs took off. Good 25.
We were too late. The vultures were everywhere, and the cheetahs had gone. But we decided to go in anyway. A fresh carcass would give us some valuable clues about how these cheetahs live.
You wonder why it was a little hard to see from the air.
It wasn't livestock, but a wild antelope, an eland, and so fresh it didn't even smell. Can you tell who's been here since the cheetahs first killed?
All you've got around here is jackals and vultures. By 6 o'clock this evening, it will be a beautiful, almost white skeleton. So you can see that's where the throat bite was. It's a strangulation hold. And, I mean, you'd think, well, they'd have to actually bite all the way through. But it's just a very, it's just sheer holding on. And they're there for maybe 15 minutes.
Right.
And that's all they do. The eland were probably coming through, and the cheetah were probably just saw. There's enough open space here that the cheetahs probably saw, laid flat.
So they might not have had to chase him
Right.
down. They
And
would have
then-
kind of stalked him.
Well, cheetahs are interesting in this thicker bush because instead of having just a direct, fast speed chase, their speed in maneuverability is what gives them, I mean, it's an agility. They're going 70 miles an hour in between all these bushes. So the cheetah's adapted to hunt a certain way, and that's stalking, running full speed, and the prey has to behave a certain way in order for the predator to be able to make the kill.
It's a dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cheetah and its prey are partners in an intricate dance of life and death. They've been doing this for millions of years. The way the prey reacts to the cheetah triggers the kill. Livestock doesn't run like a wild animal, so the cheetah can't trip it up. It's not nearly so attractive as traditional prey, like this African hare. The radio-colored cheetahs were gone, but at least the team could take back evidence that cheetahs, even on farmland, prefer wild game. What's going on behind me is they're taking off the head, and I'm standing here talking to you instead because I don't really want that in my memory log. They're hacking it. I can hear the pearly tones, bone breaking. There's nothing like a little laundry to help take your mind off things. Normally, I cook to relax, but with the image of that headless carcass still fresh in my mind, washing seemed like a good idea. This was my first wash of the trip, and probably my last. It's strange. I feel like I'm washing the day's experiences out of my clothes, and I'm not sure I want to do that. Each wet item being a small reminder of my time so far. I'm beating the life out of these socks, but they were the ones that followed the cheetah tracks with the Bushman and Natasha. There's the t-shirt that met Chewbacca, and the pants that almost wore my breakfast in the plane. Forget the circle of life. This was the laundry of life. And in the last few days of this trip, my focus has changed. It's not just about finding the cheetah anymore. It's about finding the cheetah a place to live. News of the cheetah's plight is beginning to spread across the land. The cheetah now has more friends than enemies out here, especially among the local population. For young children, it's become part of their heritage. But old ways die hard, and the problem still looms large. These small cubs were orphaned when their mother was killed in a trap about 2 months ago. They were taken in and nursed by Laurie and her team, and will never be able to return to the wild. Are their claws sharp?
Their claws are sharp. You know, they're out.
Yes, I should.
That's okay. Just hold them very gently, like you would a little house cat. They've been raised from the time they were about 3 weeks of age, when they were orphaned. And all they know is lots and lots and lots of love. Are you okay?
Yes, they're certainly cute. But now I know why they call them wild animals.
This is actually the time of the day that his mother would have him bedded down in a nice shady area and they'd be sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give him some water?
Yeah.
You have some.
And how long can a cub go without drinking?
Not that long. They need to be in the shade. Mother would here. Let's see. Mom would be, if they were eating meat, they'd get the blood, and then they'd be spending a lot of the time in the shade as well. There you go. See, what the mother would do is wipe its face now with that, with her tongue, obviously.
Well, yes, and I
That's
won't
sort
do
of-
that.
Well, that's okay. You can. You can wipe it.
But not
And then
with my tongue.
No, with your hand, with your wet hand. And then that cools his face off too. And then when the wind hits, that helps cool him down some.
Now that's better. I know you feel better. Now you're not panting. Yes, now you're cooled down. Around here, the temperature can exceed 130 degrees. Licking is more than just a simple show of affection. It's a constant ritual that helps the cubs cool down. But for the mother, it uses up valuable moisture, which can only be replenished every few days. Water isn't easy to find in this part of the world. Oh, now, what's going on there?
You see some in the grass.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you can't put anything past him.
Whatever the cub had spotted in the distance, it spelled trouble. The dear little kitten, drinking from my hand, had turned back into a wild animal. Instinct kicked in. It was a sad reminder of where these cubs should really be. Up a tree, yes, but rather out in the bush, where spotting a movement in the grass can really make the difference between life or death. Trees have special significance to the Namibian cheetah. They not only act as a lookout, but they also make a very convenient marking post. In this thickly bushed landscape, cheetahs scent mark certain prominent trees, and they're known as play trees. Every time a cheetah passes through, it checks the same play tree to see if anyone else has been there. Then it leaves its own keep-out sign as a warning to the next visitor. The irony is that this innocent habit has become a death trap. It doesn't take much for a farmer to recognize a play tree, so a simple box trap will nearly always catch an unsuspecting cheetah. Once caught, a cheetah's fate is uncertain. Until recently, the farmer would put a bullet in it. In the 80s, over 7,000 cheetahs died this way. Now less than 3,000 remain on the farmland. It's an uphill struggle, but Laurie is persuading some farmers to hand over trapped cheetahs. For many, her care is their only chance. The latest victim from a trap had come in overnight. This wasn't quite how I'd hoped to come face to face with my first wild cheetah. He was trying to tell me something. For him, I represented everything standing in the way of his liberty. He wanted his freedom back. But right now, there was nowhere for him to go. There was nothing I could do. Nothing I could do. And that was very hard. I wasn't really in the mood for socializing, but this was no ordinary gathering. Laurie had invited in some farmers as part of her continued effort to win them over to her way of thinking. And it seems to be working. The more cheetah-friendly approach is catching on, at least for the younger generation of farmers. They're throwing away the traps and trying to find new ways of protecting their livestock, but, understandably, none of them could be persuaded to offer a home to the new prisoner. I couldn't stop thinking about that cheetah that was mad at me. No farmer would actually want this animal released on his land. But would his cage become a permanent home? Or is there another solution? I didn't sleep very well that night. I guess that cheetah didn't either. Still, I'd come a long way just for laundry. There's no turning back now. Our next stop is South Africa. And finally, maybe, a meeting with a cheetah out in the wild. Hey, don't let the light fool you. It's freezing. I'm on my way to South Africa. I've been told that over 100 cheetahs caught in farmers' traps in Namibia have been freed in South Africa, where new wildlife parks are opening up all over the country. The park I'm headed for is in Zululand, and it's called Pinda. Pinda is Zulu for return. The land was too salty for farming, so it's been turned back into a wild paradise. With 8 different habitats, from dense thorn felt to palm savanna, it is home to a huge variety of animal life. It's like a vast, earthly Garden of Eden. Another day, another country, and another new face. This time it's Luke Hunter. He says there's a group of 3 male cheetah brothers we have a good chance of following. We're going to try to see them hunt.
More hooves. Impala? Zebra? You think?
Yeah. There's lots of game here.
Luke is a rugged Australian who's been studying the cheetah here for over 4 years and knows each one individually. We're hot on the trail of the 3 males he's known since they were cubs.
Hey there. Nice profile.
An impala carcass confirmed Luke's suspicions. The 3 male cheetahs were nearby, but which direction did they go? They could be anywhere. We weren't taking any chances. Luke had arranged for Wally, a Zulu ranger, to join us at dawn. Luke assured me that if anyone can spot them in this landscape, Wally can.
Ori,
What?
there's the cheetah.
What?
No way.
There.
Where?
Stand up a little bit. Look. The little bush there.
Yeah.
The smallest tree there.
Yeah.
But 10 meters to the right. The next one.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
about 10, 15 meters
yes,
to
yes.
the
I can see her ears.
right.
I can see her ears.
Right
All
on.
right.
Well spotted, Wally.
Yeah.
Sitting up in the grass.
Good eye, Wally. Incredible eyesight.
Thank you.
Wally spotted it with his little bare eyes, and I could hardly see it through my binoculars. We headed into the marsh for a closer look. Luke thought it was a female.
There's the tree.
No, I don't think so. It's still here somewhere. There she is.
Oh, there she is.
Sorry, sweetie.
At last, right out in the open. Luke recognized the female as a mother with 5 cubs. She just went down.
Yeah. Yeah, I've lost her. She's hiding from us.
My first wild cheetah.
Nice, eh?
Little cheetah.
Yeah. She is a wild one.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, she's amazing. I lost her now.
We let her go. Her cubs must be nearby, and she's very protective. This female was one of the first Namibian cheetahs to come to Penda, sent across by a more sympathetic Namibian farmer. She's already brought up 6 cubs in Penda, and this litter will bring her grand total to 11, if all 5 make it. And it looks like they just might. They've already gotten through the first 2 critical months. In other parts of Africa, only 1 cheetah cub in 20 survives to adulthood. Here in Penda, at least 12 in 20 are making it through. It's an incredible turnaround and a real success story. But it's also a big job for the mother to keep an eye on them all. The cubs are naturally curious and playful, and they practice the skills that will one day make them successful hunters like their parents. Luke is almost certain that one of the 3 males we're looking for is the father of these cubs. We had been searching all day, and then suddenly, out of the blue, they just appeared.
Just taking her strong. Wow. Huge.
Yeah, they're quite big. They're still not fully mature, eh? They still have to grow. They're youngish males. They're just over 2 years old, and they probably won't hit their full weight until they're about 5.
These 3 adolescent brothers are already the dominant males of the park. They were just like street punks looking for trouble. Cheetahs are thought of as solitary animals, but that's just not true of most males. A lone male can't hold a territory, so blood brothers gang up together, often for life. This way, at least, they can smell 3 times as powerful. So, he's the 3rd one marking right now.
He's number 3.
He looks very happy to be marking, too.
Does he?
He's very happy about it.
They're pretty content, you know. They're kind of rulers of all they can see.
Just beautiful.
There's not necessarily an order here. They just go up and pee on a tree as they arrive there. You know, it's not like one brother has to go first, and that's always the way.
You know, they're so clean.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be filthy.
No, they'll be
dirty.
clean after. No, yeah, that's a funny thing.
Are they very meticulous like cats? Like
Yeah, not as much as the smaller cats, but they are. And, I mean, after a kill, you'll see them. They're bloody faced and all the rest of it. They sit down and they clean one another. When they're finished feeding, there's lots of grooming that goes on with one another. See, there's not, you can see
What would
these...
these guys do? What would these guys do if we... Not that we're going to, but what if we went on foot? Would that flip them out a little bit?
You know, yeah, there's not much of a chance of attack. There's no...
No, but I mean, they wouldn't recognize us the way they recognize us in the vehicle.
That's right. The vehicle seems to remove the human element.
Right.
You know, and so they ignore the vehicle. We're neither a threat, we're no interest, we're We don't exist to them, which is nice, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Luke has lived alongside this group since they were cubs. They know the sound of his Jeep, and they've learned to ignore it.
It's disappearing over the horizon.
This invisibility allows him to study totally natural behavior. And last week, he found himself witnessing a unique moment when they suddenly stumbled across the cubs. The cubs were waiting in the palm scrub for their mother to return from hunting. Male cheetahs can be aggressive. Amongst the big cats, males do occasionally kill cubs because they could grow up to be rivals. But this male senses the cubs could well be his. Then the mother returns, and the situation gets more complicated. The mother yelps to the brothers, and they hiss at her. Their aim with every female is to keep her captive and try and mate with her. All this female wants to do is to get her cubs away from them. They're looking worried. The brothers have blocked the route between the mother and her cubs. They won't retreat until they're sure whether or not she's in season. All the mother can do is give a reassuring bird-like chirp to her cubs and a submissive call to the three brothers. No one seems to want to make the first move. Eventually, the mother takes the risk to the male's obvious displeasure. Keeping a submissive posture in deference to her captors, she makes her way over to the cubs. They would never have let her go, but the presence of the cubs tells them it's not their lucky day. She's not ready to mate. Just before sundown, I took the opportunity to make a complete ass out of myself.
You sound like a mum. You sound like a mother. He's looking. Do it again.
At first, the boys seemed quite alarmed. There weren't supposed to be cheetah noises coming from the strange green machine.
I can't believe that works.
Yeah. It's crazy. They're gonna have to call you the cheetah lady.
They're like disgusted, shaking their heads in disgust. Then they got curious. One by one, they walked right past our Jeep. It was magical. They're moving out. Beautiful. Wow. I was hooked. I could have followed them all night. We decided to camp nearby so we could find them again at first light when they might be ready to hunt.
Cool, eh?
Pretty amazing. Good night, Cheetah. In the meantime, there's only one thing for it. Have a sundowner and talk Zulu. This is, after all, the heart of Zulu land. If we were to name these three brothers Zulu names.
Okay, Zulu with the cheetah is Ngulule. Ingulule.
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 Yeah.
Ingulule.
You need to get that,
Pretty
lady.
good.
Huh?
Iodo,
Iodo?
Ingulule.
Ingulule.
Zimbidi,
Zimbili.
Ingulule.
Ingulule.
Zintatu.
Zintatu.
That's it.
Didn't I say that the first time? Isn't that what I said?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Not too bad.
The names sound exotic, but they're just Zulu for cheetah 1, 2, and 3. The cheetah has a special significance in Zulu culture. Tribal chiefs wore the skin to symbolize their power. Charms made out of cheetah parts were believed to endow speed. It was a full moon, and the wind was up. The sort of night when the darkness comes to life. What's that?
Bush baby.
It's a bush baby. What are you going to do if we hear lions?
I'd like to hear a lion
Would you?
from far away.
And
From
if
far
it's
away.
close?
What will you guys do if you hear a lion?
Nothing. Sleep.
Lions. Elephants.
Tell her what lions.
Pulling my chin.
And rhinos.
So bad.
I'm scared of lions. You are scared of lions?
No,
Yeah, you should.
I'm not scared of lions.
No.
Why?
Okay, you're doing the
Because
one.
Why not?
you
You're
know
doing
what
the
you
lion
do
watch tonight.
if you see a lion, you act like you're bigger and you're badder than him.
It works
By
in
the way,
daytime.
can I pull some
Oh,
more?
please do, thank you. As long as you show him who's boss, you're not gonna have any problems with that. Thank you all. We'll let the centipedes get you. We were miles from anywhere, out in the bush, surrounded by wild animals. This is the real Africa. Sure, I've camped out before, but never in the middle of lion country. I was really scared. The wind, the sounds, everything felt so near, so alive. It was totally exhilarating. It was dawn before I knew it.
How about a beer, huh?
And she won't see the tracks.
Cute.
It's gonna be difficult to stand up.
Got a little bit of ash on my pillow. I hope that's good luck.
Yeah.
Some kind of campfire sign of good luck.
And now I can see you getting up.
Another bad hair day. How come Meryl Streep never seemed to have this problem? I got the impression I was holding up the action a little. The sun was hardly up, but it was light enough for a hungry, hungry cheetah. Okay, Meryl, eat your heart out. We headed back to find the three brothers and pick them up pretty much where we'd left them. There was prey everywhere. So what do you think they're doing right now? What do you think?
This is the time where they're looking for game.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, part of look at this guy, he's just a bit playful. What's he
Yeah.
Now see, if they flush something here, a small antelope, which is in this sort of grassland, then they'll go for it. They'll take that chance for sure.
The wildebeest can sense the cheetahs are definitely on the hunt. Would they ever just do this for fun? I mean, would they ever just do this for
You know what they're probably
like
doing
a
here is
lark?
like they test. They do tests.
Ah.
Now, they're running here and they're seeing, is there a little guy in amongst here? Is there someone injured here? And they'll take that chance.
This test driving is not for fun. They're checking out the prey. They don't want to attempt anything too big. They'll get injured. A kick from a zebra can maim a cheetah and mean death from starvation. The cheetah will have to find an injured animal or a small one. They just have one short burst of speed. They choose their moment carefully. Something's got their attention. The speed of it caught us totally unprepared. Drive, Wally, drive. Let's go. It was a total blur, but I think they've done it.
See, that's a tiny baby.
Yeah.
That's a little guy.
I could feel the adrenaline of the chase and their incredible determination. The death grip is relentless. It's like he's frozen there.
Yeah, he's just making sure. He wants to make sure the little guy's dead. It probably is by now, but he's going to hang on for a good time.
And he likes that.
Yeah, and he's also excited.
Kind of
Yeah,
like it. Just, he's digging it.
Yep.
He's just digging it. Wow. He looks almost intoxicated. Just astounding. He's got a chokehold on that one. I mean, he's just like hunkered down.
Making sure.
He's
Not
just,
letting go. Yeah.
He is very dedicated.
You know, it can take an animal quite a while to die of suffocation. So they hang on. They make sure they have to.
Make sure.
So they hang on for a good 5 minutes or so.
Wow, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
He catch the throat, and one of his hands catch his mouth and push it back, and he's got no chance to defend himself.
But because he is playing with it now.
Yeah, just excitement.
He's just playing.
Yeah, it's just
He's just like that cat and mouse thing.
Look
Really?
how fast they eat. They just wolf it down.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, look, they're out in the open here. I mean, the lion can just run in here. They don't know what's going to happen. So they're just going to wolf it down.
Yet, even in their feeding frenzy, there was a strange politeness and elegance that was a sharp contrast to the ferocity of the kill. It's crunchy. It's a crunchy kind of thing. Wow. I never believed it would be possible. We were wallpaper at a giant cheetah banquet. But dinner was quickly over. The cheetahs sensed party crashers, and it wasn't us. They didn't stick around to find out who it was, though. The moment was gone. The spell was broken. But I had a memory that will stick with me forever. This was the climax of my trip, the reason I'd come here. It was my last day. I just wanted to see the brothers one more time, to be alone with them. I'm so happy to see them right before we leave Penda. I'm so happy to come upon them as they're having a moment of rest so that we can have a moment of Dear Diary. You know, one of the things that's come up that I've been kind of surprised about is how invisible the vehicles are to them. And certainly out here in the wild with these cheetahs, we're utterly invisible. We don't count. And I think that to humans, that's unsettling. And we keep encroaching more and more upon them to see if we can make an impact. As soon as you get out of the vehicle, as soon as you open the door and you're a two-legged thing, you are trouble. You are something to contend with. You're something to consider. And I think we want that. We want to be considered worthy. So it's a real easy next step for people to enforce on them the two-legged thing. But I don't want us to go there because it ruins them, because they can't do things like breed. So they die. And that's the rub, you know. That's the place that we have to protect, is our desire versus their need. It's a delicate balance, being there but not interfering. But these South African game parks seem to have gotten it right. So, homeward bound. My time was at an end. But it didn't feel over for me. Then our journey home was diverted. We'd gotten word from Namibia that Laurie had found a place to release the wild cheetah I'd seen in the holding pen. This was my chance to make some sense of it all, to complete the circle.
Are you all right?
I'm good.
Okay, we're going to stick them right over in here. Right about in here, okay? This way. We want them to see the water. Okay.
Yeah?
It looks pretty good. Now, Holly, what you're going to do is you're going to end up on top here, lifting this up.
Should I get up there now?
If you want to, sure.
Okay.
You'll be fine. It's good and solid, although he can see you. Okay? Just don't do it quite yet.
Oh, no. I'm going to wait for the appropriate time.
Okay. It's all right.
Oh, boy. When he looked at me, I'd never encountered such a force of life. Such a pure force of life.
We're going to want him to turn the other way around.
Well, probably once we open up this door,
He'll turn
he's
around.
going to get the idea, and
I hope.
This was the moment I'd waited for.
Okay.
And I don't mind saying, I was scared. It's really something. I can't tell you how I felt. The emotions, fear, my fear, happiness, relief. I felt them all at once. It was very, very moving. It would be hard to explain. It's funny, but I had done this thing. I had opened this door and released the cheetah. But he had released something in me. All the bravado of the last 2 weeks was gone. He had passed back from our world to his, and I was glad. In the last few moments, I had found my reason to be here, and it felt good. Real good.
Funding for In the Wild is provided by annual financial support from viewers like you.
orphaned, and all they know is lots and lots and lots of love.
This is PBS.